Hi guys, today we're talking about arithmetic sequences. Okay, a sequence is a string of objects like numbers that follow a certain pattern. Okay, an arithmetic sequence, like we're talking about today, is a sequence where each term after the first term is found by adding the previous term. Okay, or to a common difference. So we're going to add the same number each time. Okay, really we're looking for a pattern, and we're looking for what we're adding every time. That's going to be our pattern, and we're just going to continue that pattern. Okay, that's all a sequence is. So in our first example, we have 5, 8, 11, and 14. Okay, to get from 5 to 8, we added 3, and to get from 8 to 11, we added 3, and to get from 11 to 14, we added 3. Okay, so our common difference is 3. The positive 3, because we're adding each time. Okay, now in a sequence we always count the terms, like how many terms are there, and they're assigned a term number. The first term is always assigned term number 1, and then 2, 3, 4, because we're counting how many terms. Okay, so we're going to start counting at number 1 and count from there. Okay, now this is important because then when we go to write our equations for them, then we need to know what our first term is, and we need to know what our common difference is. Okay, so if we look at the two types of formulas, the two types of equations we can write for them, there's an explicit formula and there's a recursive formula. Okay, and you notice that they kind of use the same symbols. Okay, they mean that they all stand for the same thing. They're just put in different places in the two formulas. Okay, a sub n is always the term defined. So what term are you looking for? If you're looking for the 8th term, then it would be a sub 8. Okay, and that's the same thing in both the recursive and the explicit formula. Okay, a sub 1 is always our first term. And I'll talk a little bit more about the differences in the two types of forms here in just a minute, but I just want you to identify what the different symbols are. So a sub 1 is always our first term. The D is always our common difference. And the N and the A sub N minus 1, those are the two things that are different in these two formulas. So we'll talk about the N first. Okay, so the N in the explicit formula is the term number you're finding. Okay, the term number defined. Now this a sub n, where it says term defined, that's actually looking for the value. Okay, what is the number that is in that spot, whereas the n is actually the spot number. Okay, if we look at our example that we have up here with the 5, 8, 11, 14 sequence, okay, our first term is 5. Okay, this is our a sub 1. So if I put this into my formula, into my explicit formula, it's going to be a sub n equals 5. And then our common difference is 3, so plus 3. And then n minus 1. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier that if we wanted to maybe find the 8th term, or something like that, the 8th term out here would say a sub 8. Everywhere there's an n, we would put an 8. And then in parentheses, it would be 8 minus 1. And we would just simplify this, and that would tell us what the term value is. Okay. Now, in a recursive formula, we set the first term differently. Okay, we just kind of give you the basics in the recursive formula. The problem with the recursive formula is that you have to know the previous term to get the term you're looking for. So if you're looking for the 8th term, then you have to know what the 7th term was. Okay? If you're looking for the 50th term, then you have to know what the 49th term was. Because the way the recursive formula works is that you write the first term, and then you say to find whatever term you want to find, you're going to take the term before that and add your common difference to it. Okay? So in the example that we have here, in the sequence that we have here, our a sub 1 equals 5. Our a sub n is going to be a sub 1 minus n minus 1, excuse me, a sub n minus 1 plus 3. Okay? Now notice this n minus 1, this n, and this 1, they're all little subscript numbers. Okay? We've talked about exponents before where they were little floating numbers. Subscript numbers are little numbers that are down kind of below. Okay? They're at the very bottom. Okay, so that's what those are. These are not, it's not a n minus 1, it's a sub n minus 1. Okay, and the way you write it is very important, because if you write it differently, it can mean an entirely different thing. Okay, let's look at some examples. Okay, on our first example, we have 3, 7, 11, 15, and 19. Sorry. All right, I was misreading that. So our a sub 1 is going to be 3. Okay, if we number our terms, 19 is the 5th term. So our a sub 1 is 3. To get our common difference, 3 to 7, we added 4. 7 to 11, we added 4. 11 to 15, we added 4. And 15 to 19, we added 4. So our common difference is a plus 4. So then we just fill in our formula. This is an explicit formula, so it's 3 plus 4 times n minus 1. Okay? Pause the video. I want you to try number 1. Okay? Find your first term, find your common difference, and fill in the formula. I'll give you a couple of seconds, and then unpause the video and come back, and we will put the answers in there so you can check. All right, guys, you should have unpaused the video by now. Okay, you should have tried this yourself. So if we look, we number our terms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We look at our common difference. From 2 to 5, we added 3. And then we added 3 to get 8, plus 3 to get 11, plus 3 to get 14. Our first term is 2. Our common difference is a plus 3. So we fill in our equation as a sub n equals 2 plus 3 to the n times n minus 1. If we look at example 2, we're writing it in recursive form. Okay. Again, we still need to identify our first term and our common difference. So our first term, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 terms here. Our first term is -7. To find our common difference, from -7 to -9, we added -2. -9 to -11, we added a -2. -11 to -13, we added a -2. So our common difference is -2. So our a sub 1 is -7. A sub n is a sub n minus 1 plus -7. Okay. If it had been a positive difference, we would just put 7. Okay. All right. You try 2, pause the video, and then when you unpause it, we'll work out the answer. All right. So you should have unpaused the video by now. You should have tried this yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are our term numbers. From 20 to 14, it went -6. We added another -6 to get to 8. Another -6 to get to 2. Our first term was -6. Our common difference, I'm sorry, let me back that up. Our common difference was -6, but our first term was 20. Okay, so A sub 1 is 20. The second line of the recursive formula is A sub n equals A sub n minus 1 plus -6. Now, you can just write this as -7 or -6. You don't have to put plus a negative. If you want to, so that it's easier, that's fine. You can also put parentheses around these just to separate out that positive and that negative sign. Okay. Okay, our last example, example 3. It wants us to write the explicit formula, and then it wants us to find a term. Okay. It wants us to find a term further down in the sequence. Okay, so number our terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. From 5 to 9, we added 4. Then we added 4 to get to 13. Then we added 4 to get to 17. Sorry. So our first term is 5. Our common difference is 4. Okay, so 5 plus 4 to the n minus 1. The 8th term, and wants us to find the 8th term. This is going to be our n. Okay, so to find our a sub 8 is going to equal 5 plus 4 times 8 minus 1. Okay. Now this is something you could type in your calculator. You could simplify it. This is fairly easy math. You don't have to do a whole lot of solving. You're just simplifying. So using PEMDAS, using our order of operations. So 4 plus 27 is 28. And 28 plus 5 is 33. So apparently I can't write a 3 now. So our 8th term is 33. You try number 3. Find your first term, your common difference, fill in your explicit formula, and then find the 10th term. I'm going to give you a second, so pause the video. And when you unpause it, we will make sure you have the correct answer. Okay, so you should have unpaused the video by now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you should have numbered out your sequences, your terms, and found your common difference. So from 27 to 23, it subtracted 4, then it subtracted 4 again, and then it subtracted 4 again. Our first term is 27. Okay, that was term number 1. Common difference is -4. So 27 plus -4 to n minus 1. We're looking for the 10th term. This is going to be our n. A sub 10 equals 27. Instead of saying plus -4, I'm just going to say 27 minus 4 times 10 minus 1. So 27 minus 4 times 9. 4 times 9 is 36. So 27 minus 36 is going to be, wait a minute, it's a -11. Okay, I almost forgot my negative, guys. Okay, 27 minus 36 is negative. Nope. Ms. Johnson has an error. Did you spot that? Okay. 36 minus 27. Okay, if I do my subtraction, 36 minus 27 is 9. Since the 36 is bigger, it is a negative 9. So the 10th term is negative 9. All right. I hope you spotted that error, guys. And if you have questions, you can text me on my remind. I will see y'all later. Enjoy your assignment. You have some where you're writing the explicit formula, some where you're writing the recursive formula, and some where you're finding a term further down the sequence. Bye.